People who believe that homosexuality is a sin in the eyes of God look at Scripture to prove their point. From their perspective, the Bible is clear on the subject. They point to verses like Leviticus 20:13. If a man lies with a man as with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Or Romans 1:26 and 27. For this reason, God gave them up to dishonorable passions. For their women exchanged natural relations for those that are contrary to nature. And the men likewise gave up natural relations with women, and were consumed with passion for one another. I'll admit that if you read these verses flat, not in the context that they were written, it certainly sounds like the Bible is condemning same-sex relationships. At the beginning of my journey, I decided that I wanted to look into how those smart, Jesus-loving people I mentioned before understood those verses. So I began to study and to read about the reasons they came to a different conclusion. Sometimes I hear from folks who disagree with me about how God feels regarding human sexuality that I need to read my Bible. And I assure them that I have never read my Bible or taken it more seriously than when I started to explore this subject. Of course, I had people that I loved who were part of the LGBTQIA community, but if they were sinning, I wanted to know what God thought about it. I wasn't a pastor at the time, and I had no formal training, so I was pretty much on my own. The first thing I learned was that I needed to stop taking one verse at a time out of context. Reading the Bible is more complex than taking a verse at a time. The key is to back up and to see where that verse fits in the context of the passage and ask questions like, who is the writer and who were they writing to? What's the historical and cultural context of the passage? What was going on at the time, and what was the writer trying to address? And what translational problems could be affecting how we understand this verse? No matter what subject you're studying, these are important things to consider before you decide what the Bible is saying about a certain subject.